Nevertheless, it was a happy and beautiful masquerade, and you may be sure that the clothes the dancers chose to wear, their costumes, were strange and wonderful. The dancers looked like the forms we might see in troubled dreams. And these, the dreams, danced softly through the rooms, taking the color of the rooms as they moved. It did not seem that their steps followed the music, but that the music rose from their steps. But into the seventh room the dancers do not go, for the red light coming through the windows and the blackness of the wall hangings make them afraid. And he who enters hears more deeply the string of the great black clock. But the other rooms were crowded, and in them beats hotly the heart of life. And the dance goes on, until at last the clock begins to strike 12. Again the music stopped. Again the dancers stood without moving while the slow striking sound continued. Before the clock was quiet again, many in the crowd saw that in the first room, the blue room, there was a masquerade who had not been seen before. As they talked softly to each other about him, a feeling of surprise spread through all the dancers. Then a feeling of fear and of sickening horror. In such a group as this, only a very strange masquerade would have caused such a feeling, even among those who laugh at both life and death. Some matters cannot be laughed at. Everyone seemed now deeply to feel that the stranger should not have been allowed to come among them, dressed in such clothes. He was tall and very thin, and covered from head to foot like a dead man prepared for the grave. The mask which covered his face, or was it really a mask? The mask which covered his face was so much like the face of a dead man that the nearest eye could not see the difference. And yet all these might have been acceptable. But the masquerade, whom nobody knew, had made himself look like the Red Death itself. His clothes were spotted with blood, and the mask over his face was covered with the terrible red spots. Or perhaps it was indeed his face. When Prospero looked upon this fearful form, he was first filled with terror, and then with anger. "Who dares?" he cried. "Take him, seize him, put all his mask, so that he may know who we must hang at sunrise." Prospero stood in the blue room when he spoke these words. They sounded through the 7 rooms, loud and clear. At first, as he spoke, some of the dancers started to rush toward the strange masquerade. But they stopped, afraid, and no one dared to put out a hand to touch him. The stranger started to walk toward the 2nd room. He passed within a few feet of Prospero, who stood still, surprised. And while the dancers moved back from the center of the room, the stranger moved quietly, without being stopped, with a slow and misfit step, through the blue room to the purple room, through the purple room to the green room, through the green to the yellow, through this to the white, and then to the violet room. As the stranger was entering the 7th room, Prospero suddenly and angrily rushed through the 6 rooms. No one dared to follow him. He held a sharp knife high over his head, ready to strike the stranger. When he was within 3 or 4 feet of the strange masquerade, the stranger turned and stood silent, looking firmly into Prospero's eyes. There was a cry, and the knife drooped shining upon the black floor, upon which